Notice how the title of this video says Halo multiplayer is bad, not was bad. Bad by definition could mean many things, so to save you the clickbait, I'm just going to jump right into these examples. Take this capture the flag game I played last night on Sidewinder. The lack of dynamic spawn points means there's nothing to stop me from spawn camping people. One of the sticking points of Halo CE means that if you touch a vehicle whilst it's so much as even breathing, you'll die. And thirdly, the placement of the flag means that you actually have to get to the back of the enemy spawn room if you want to pick up the flag anyway, which pretty much promotes spawn camping as the only viable method in a big server to get the flag. The most powerful items in the game would simply be placed next to each other and on really short timers, and you could still exploit these by throwing grenades to ensure on Sidewinder that the other team doesn't have access to them. If you should get tagged whilst driving a vehicle, your right thumbstick or your mouse will become impossible to move. And don't even get me started on the first-person passenger gunner seats in the Warthog. Halo's multiplayer is so damn bad that it's actually great. Hear me out. As with everything, expectations change over time. 23 years ago, the expectations around gaming were significantly different to what they are today. We weren't concerned as much about ranking, elo, and team balance. We were more concerned about having a good time, whether that meant having people around and playing on split screen or playing online. As time progresses, I stand closer with those who still play MCC every day. I feel those people playing custom lobbies every night are not just chasing nostalgia. It would drive me insane to play a game as unbalanced as Halo CE multiplayer every single day if I was actually taking things seriously. I'm aware there's a hardcore player base out there seeking that thrill, but this isn't that. This is just custom lobbies and people having fun. If a huge console launch title came out today and had some maps where every single weapon in the whole game were available on one map, where maps were not built for sightlines and competitive play, or even baseline intuitive play at that, how do you think the gaming community would react? The answer is, probably not very well at all, and for good reasons. It's a fairly obvious argument that the success of Halo's multiplayer would have been due to the time that it was launched in. There was nothing else that could compete to the scale of this, both in terms of how many players could play it at one time, and also what the game actually provided, of course. But another observation I'd like to share, and I'm not sure if this is shared amongst others, is that when I look at the customs browser for other Halo games, most of them seem to be more sandbox type games with lots of people having fun, running around with either unlimited ammo, modified movement, custom assets, and whilst we can thank Forge for at least giving us these options, there's several things about Halo CE multiplayer that are just so damn charming that almost none of the above is really needed. Even just playing a regular game of rockets in Halo CE feels like playing some form of custom game mode. In addition, the rift between small, close quarters maps and the huge BTB style ones meant that Halo CE multiplayer didn't really have too much of a consistent theme. Our maps these days are very segmented by playlist and by game type, but it would have been pretty impossible to try and determine what qualities from what maps and which game modes would really shine through with the community. To be honest with you, it's actually quite difficult to see which core themes have been taken all the way from CE multiplayer to Halo Infinite. Objective type game modes are so different now in Halo Infinite. The weapon selection by default is significantly more restricted, while CE would often have every single weapon in the entire game featured at least once in the map. Players won't spawn on top of the flag anymore. There's dynamic spawn points that actually allow for some more conducive gameplay, and a whole host of balancing and optimization that I'm sure is very much needed. And so, nostalgia aside, why are these lobbies full every single night? Why do I sometimes have to wait for 10 minutes just for somebody to leave a 16-player BTB so I can take their spot? To be honest with you, the answer only hit me a couple of weeks ago. I finally have become old and boring enough to realize that the tangible things about the online competitive gaming experience just don't appeal to me anymore. I've pushed off nostalgia at least twice in this video so far, but I've gone back to my roots to find out why I enjoyed playing games in the first place. Halo CE obnoxiously ignores all metas, all stereotypes. All rules and laws as to how a game should be built just get thrown out the window. Whilst I do understand where other viewpoints are coming from on this topic, I do find it really difficult to sympathize with my friends who won't play CE because they think it's bad. In a day and age where we have so many reasons to be upset with how so many games are built and shipped, and how the state of a multiplayer game typically can decline over time, there are so many reasons why people should be paying attention to what MCC provides, which is a well-curated experience of endless fun. It's for these reasons that I will say that Halo multiplayer was not bad at all. In fact, quite the opposite. Saying it's bad by today's standards or versus the other Halos isn't really representative of much. So much has changed since then in terms of expectations. If you're a CE fan, this video probably isn't for you. I'm already preaching to the choir. But if you're a Halo fan and you haven't had much of a chance to try out the multiplayer from the original game, you really should give it a try. Sure, it's clanky. There's definitely no balance in it whatsoever. But that's just not what this experience is about. It's about having fun. It's the original social gaming experience on the Xbox. The MCC already gives us 1,000 reasons to pick up the controller, or in my case, mouse and keyboard, every single evening. But regardless of my nostalgia, there's one title I'm just going to have to come back to every single time. I don't judge CE or get bogged down by the fact its multiplayer is quote unquote bad. Because to be truthful with you, getting back into playing Halo in 2024 after many years has actually made the best year I've ever had gaming.